What's going on, everybody? It's CryptoVision here, back again with another crypto market update. Today's video, we're going to be checking out the macro, checking out some Bitcoin dominance, some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some total market cap, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. If you're interested, stay tuned to the very end. Got some important news. As always, if you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more. Let's get into it. So we got Bitcoin dominance here on the chart. We got all of our EMAs. This thing has been pretty much consolidating. It has been for the last, we can say from roughly here. You can also point it out from middle of August of 2025. Potato, whatever you prefer. We're on 24 bars now. So before expansion, before anything like that can occur, any kind of asset contraction occurs, before we can see any kind of Bitcoin dominance really move, we got to escape this ping-ponging right through here. So this 100-day EMA, once we break down below here and close and reject, that's when we're going to see some altcoins move. We had that, we had a little tease, right? When you go to Costco, you get the taste test. We had that right through here. We closed down below the 100. We had a key level through here, and you came back up and just kept riding the wave. So, if we were to draw some kind of trend line on through here, you have broken down below your trend line. Okay, so you've broken down below that trend line. We'll see. Do we come back up and just shoot back up? That's a perfect line. Hey, if you don't like the video, at least like it for that. If you're new to the channel, I cannot draw lines for anything. Okay, so just with that, I asked for that like and subscription. Now I'm just playing. But in serious notes, we have the idea that Bitcoin dominance should drop when the dollar starts to devalue. We're sitting at the, if I pull that up, the DXY is at 96. We've been tracking the DXY. We're trying to get that. We're trying to see a close down right below here from this 95. It's been ping-ponging. This has also been kind of just dipping down through here. Doesn't want to really stay down in here. Once we get a close down below there for a while, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I believe stablecoin dominance is going to start. Bitcoin dominance and stablecoin dominance are going to start to collapse because risk-on environment is going to pump up. So it's kind of just teeter-tottering. There has been news circulating that, by March 1st, trying to get some structure, some talks going for the Clarity Act to be passed. It's crypto right now, kind of in a lull. Not really going, kind of going down a little bit, but down sideways. Doesn't really know what it wants to do. Is it taking a breath before it starts to shoot up? I don't know. Is it taking a breath before it starts to shoot down? It's kind of inconsistent right now. So we're going to go ahead. We'll look into Bitcoin. I just want to look at some of these indicators. We were calling for this, waiting for this last week, Wednesday, if you missed the video. Close down below the R sign and then stay down below there, right? It's kind of been teasing. You got this 1, 2, maybe third time's a charm. If you're new to the channel, we don't just get excited based off of an indicator here, an indicator there. We need confirmation. I'm not talking about confirmation as in, Bitcoin at 100,000. Okay, now we're going to start investing into Bitcoin. XRP's at $283. Now we're going to start. No, I'm talking about confirmation on indicators, always using stop losses, always having take profits early, right? Profits never hurt the pockets. Making sure you're paying yourself for going through the pain and suffering of holding crypto. We all know that. So, I would really like to see come up through here, back test, and then go. That would be ideal. Really nothing much going on for Bitcoin dominance in terms of the MACD. The MACD is a laggard indicator. If you didn't know, it is a laggard indicator. A move will happen and then the MACD will show the MACD, or this move did happen, the MACD is going to track it. So right now you are losing some bullish momentum. It's turning a light green. Does it mean that we're starting to correct and altcoins are starting to go crazy? That's not what that means, right? We dive deep into all of this. We dive deep into we dive deep into all these charts on the Friday premium macro. So right now we're just doing the superficial or the skin deep, not everything holistically, but just the idea of where we're sitting at for crypto. In terms of Bitcoin, we still have the same concept, the same thesis of, right, we're in a 1, 2, 3, we're in a very long fourth wave. Very long fourth wave. Okay. Down through here. You know, pretty much down towards the lows. I mean, you've reached for this trend line. Down below that 200 once again. We are at the most oversold we have been in a very long time. You have a clear, oh dude, don't do that. Don't do that. You have a clear 1, 2. You have a B, C for your third. You have a nice fourth, and you've come down for your fifth. So you have 5 completed waves. So there's only so much more you can do. There's only so much more down you can go when you have 5 completed waves up. Pardon me, 5 completed waves down. Right? If we inverted this, and we were looking at this from a chart perspective, right? Even, you know, having the bullish idea of the macro always in play, even if, you know, this doesn't hit new all-time highs at 155, whatever, 160 up through here, right? If we were looking at something that has moved like this, we would look for a correction, right? We'd look for a correction to come down, maybe something like this, a 3-wave move down. Okay, 3-wave move down, something like this, down through this 107, 112 area. That's going to be a big area. Okay, that's what I do believe is coming for crypto, and I think this is going to be alt season. I think that's going to be, let me see if I can spell this out, alt. Yeah, let's go, season. Okay, I do believe that's going to be alt season when Bitcoin is, you know, especially once it breaks the 78,000. I really do believe 78,000 is going to be a key. 71,000 on the chart. I know it's there. That's kind of the, you know, low hanging fruit. It's not something where I'm going to start to really think, okay, now we're going to start to reverse. I'm going to add some more to my portfolio. Because I am going to add on strength. I've added on key levels. I have ensured that I am de-risking on certain assets at certain levels, making sure that I'm not trying to time the bottom. You know, I have been entering areas, entering assets on relative lows, but also now I'm looking for some strength. I'm looking for a 1-2 setup, adding on that second wave, right? We're looking for some strength now to add. We're not catching falling knives in here. So what we're going to look for is during this move, right? What are alts doing during this initial move? Are alts going crazy? Because if alts are going crazy, then this latter move is going to be even more insane, right? That's going to be more insane, okay? Because if alts start to go crazy on the initial move, there's not a lot of people in crypto. I mean, you go on crypto Twitter, YouTube, right? My views are down. People just, you know, big channels' views are down. People just don't want to talk about crypto. They don't want to listen to crypto. They don't want anything to do with crypto. It gives them the EBGBs, makes them want to throw up, makes them want to gag. This right here is going to make people, it's going to perk up their ears. This move right through here, I know it's starting to get crazy. This move through here will get people interested. And obviously, once everyone begins to get interested, we'll correct, because that's the way the crypto crumbles. Right? Everyone starts to get excited. Everyone is, oh my God, this is actually happening. It's actually happening. Here we go. Boom, correction. Everyone's going to be depressed, sad, liquidated. And then that's when the real move begins, right? And then that's when everything moves up. Once that initial herd comes, that everyone, they get in, they're buying high, they're buying green candles, boom, correction. People are going to think the end of crypto is here. It's the end of the world. It's not going to be that. It's going to be the 1-2 setup. Okay, this is going to be the 1-2 setup for altcoins is what I'm looking at. We're going to get into Ethereum. Ethereum's got something big coming. I'm telling you. Ethereum, I'm actually going to start entering Ethereum here pretty soon. This right through here, I believe, is going to be the 1-2 setup, and then this down through here is going to be that third wave, that final push. It's going to be great. So that's what I do believe is coming for crypto, regardless of, and this is with Bitcoin not hitting a new all-time high. Right? I'm not a guy screaming here Bitcoin will go to 500,000, 250,000. I'm not even saying Bitcoin will go to 150,000. There's two options. Right? There's two options. It's either we're in this fifth wave, right? We're about to start this fifth wave. I've made that pretty clear. Or the other option is, right, this is the fourth wave. It's pretty shallow fourth, if I'm being honest. And this is the fifth. and then this ABC is an A, B, C, and you're gonna come down through here. You're gonna bottom out on that wave 1 termination point. So about 30,000, somewhere between here, 45 and 30,000. That would be the if Bitcoin comes up through here and rejects, right? Reject. Then I am targeting this boo box down through here. Okay, and it's not that it's not that I'm going to be flip-flopping. It's none of that. It's I'm not going to be bearish at lows. I'm not going to be bearish when price still has the structures still built in, right? Structure is still built in. And I'm not going to be bearish when there's a 5-wave completion to the downside. That would be me saying, being bullish after 5 waves up. You have this 1, 2, you have this A, B, C, 3, you have this 4th wave come down, and then you have your 5th wave. That's me being bullish up through here. That just to me would be insincere, and it'd get a lot of people wrecked. So that's what I got for Bitcoin for price action. In terms of the Fu Manchu, all that, we can see that everything is oversold. We will dive deep on Friday into everything else, into some key levels, because there is more key levels than that 78, that 71. There's a big, it's like the Sahara Desert in between there. And so that's what, Bitcoin, most oversold. It's been a long time. Ethereum, same concept. It's been, we're down through here now. Almost the most oversold you've ever been. You had something up through here. You made higher lows after that. Okay. And then you started to move and groove. Okay. Do we do something like that? Is that when, Bitcoin starts to recoil, right? We have something like this. I think it's going to be something a little bit more explosive, a little bit more dynamic relative to this, just because of the market sentiment and the fact that Ethereum really hasn't outpaced Bitcoin yet. It hasn't really outpaced Bitcoin yet. And so what I'm looking for is Ethereum to really start to move and groove. The last time we were down at these lows with the Fu Manchu and the RSI, saw a very large reversal. What did we see down here on the MACD? We saw this where you did almost like a roller coaster, right? So this is almost like the roller coaster, but what we're seeing here now, I know it's dark red, I know it's scary, right? But what we're seeing here is we're seeing lower lows, we're seeing higher lows. Okay, so that's good on the MACD, right? That's good on the MACD. It is a laggard indicator, so let's see what we got going for the next maybe week or two. Let's see if maybe we do come down here, take out those lows, and then start to move up. Okay, and then also if we're really looking at the last relative low, right? The last relative low, we do have, right? What we do have is lower lows. We have higher lows. Okay, so we have higher lows, we have lower lows. So that's hidden bullish divergence on Ethereum. And when Ethereum starts to get going, we all know that, people are going to say, oh, I timed the bottom, I timed this, I timed that. But not very many people are buying. I can assure you, most people have given up on crypto. Most people don't want to talk about crypto. They don't want to look at crypto. Okay, so that's what I got for Ethereum. We got some key levels up through here. I'm going to talk through Ethereum's pattern update. I'm going to talk about that on Friday's video. So if you're interested in Ethereum, it is the driver for altcoins. It is a major factor. I'm going to be diving deep into Ethereum, what it's doing for its entire chart pattern on Friday. In terms of the others chart, we have this something very similar. We're actually touching right down on this trend line we've had for a really long time. So breaking down, showing this that, okay, we are showing this trend line. We did, you have this head and shoulders. Okay, and now you've broken down below the neckline. So mission accomplished. You've broken down below the neckline. Do you go all the way down to 0? Because that's what people will have you believe. 78 billion. All right. Do you go all the way down there? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. This is a chart that is continuously printing higher lows, right? Just in general, right? So you got a higher low, higher low, higher low. Okay, so it's moving up to the right. It's moving up to the right, and people are saying, okay, we're going to have the crypto bubble. We're going to have the crypto. So you're telling me we're going to have a crypto bubble when the current administration wants to be the crypto capital of the world, it's already got its prices for, banks, institutions, hedge funds, billionaires, trillionaires. All of those people are buying it up right now. They are buying up this dip. They're buying it up. They're buying it up. Obviously, they still have shorts in, to hedge their bets. But not just that, just to keep price down. All right, that's how you keep price low is, okay, a lot of these trillionaires, billionaires, hedge funds, they're going to buy spot. They're buying, and they still have their shorts. So the price isn't really going to go anywhere. Once they lift up their short positions, that's how you get explosive price action. It's not, okay, everyone's buying on this day. It's, no, okay, people have met quotas. They talk. Obviously, they talk. They're in competition with one another, but they're talking to one another. They're planning for the next revolution and financial revolution. May I add? So people don't get go to the comment sections and go crazy on me. But overall, for the others chart, others versus Bitcoin, I'll cover that on Friday as well. That thing is looking crazy. It's looking spicy. This is down through here is that 618 retracement of this 1-2. Okay. You're finding support right above this area, right through here. Finding support right above this area, same spot you did. And so what I expect is, a lot of people to be angry at this next move. I don't think people are going to be very happy with the next move because, the worst position I think you could find yourself in right now is selling or have sold the lows. Right? Yeah, maybe you bought high. Right? Maybe you bought, up through here, something, right? Maybe you bought up there and you were down you're down tons of percentages. You're down 50%, 60%, and you sold. The idea that, people are selling on big red candles, and then do you really think those same people are going to want to buy at lows? I don't think so. I think those people are getting out of crypto and they won't be back until green candles come and it feels good. Right? If it feels good when you're buying something, especially when you're investing, when it feels good, like, okay, I'm safe, I feel good, that's typically when you should be the most worried. When it doesn't feel good, this is from my experience and this is just my opinion. When it typically doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel the best, it doesn't mean it's going to be a slam dunk, but it typically means you're getting something on a discount. It typically means, okay, this thing has been sold off into oblivion, sentiment sucks, people don't want to talk about it, people don't want to invest in it. I'm going to, I might give it a shot. Obviously, I have stop losses in place. I have take profits in place. If you're someone that struggles with finding areas to take profits, stop losses, the Friday deep dives help. The Profit Lab series that I, actually execute. I enter trades. I execute. I don't use leverage. I use the spot. Buying at key areas, selling at key areas, buying low, selling high. It's a very simple concept, but understanding where value is when you're doing that. I offer that on Fridays, and also a command center for you to track your assets all in one page, all in one area. It's visually appealing as well with the graph. So if you're visually inclined, pardon me, that's something that that's why I added it, because I'm like, okay, I like that. That works for me. But others were the most oversold. We have bullish divergence forming. We're expecting something to come about, whether or not it's by the end of February, whether or not it's, the end of March, April, what have you. Time is the enemy. In my opinion, time is the aspect that a lot of people, especially in crypto finances, they try to nail timing to be okay, I called the time. I would rather just call the overall direction of something. Overall, what are we leaning? I'm leaning still bullish. I'm leaning on a reversal. I'm leaning on something that will shock the masses, and I'm leaning on almost pretty much a completed correction. And that, after completed corrections, you get retracements. Whether the retracement is to your 0.5, to your 382, to the 1-to-1 retracement, that is, or we're still in that fifth wave and we really shocked the world, and you come up through here, you hit a 1-2, and then you just start going. Right? It's not a retracement. You get this impulse, right? It'll probably be like a 1-2, A, B, C, 3, and then you come down for a fourth and you come up. And you really shock the world, and people are, they're telling everyone that to get into crypto, and then, we all know what happens after that. So in terms of the Fu Manchu, you're the most oversold you've been since your bear market. You haven't been this oversold. Okay, back through here, right? But that marked the lows. That marked the lows, and then you started to go up. Let me zoom in for all those folks that are visually deprived, such as myself. Okay, so you marked the lows down through here. Yes, you were the most oversold right through here. Yeah, it didn't last much. Did you go much lower than that? Let's see how much lower you went from here to here. 5%. All right, 5%. You went down a little bit lower. Yes, you went down more from up here, but you got a recuperation. You could have sold, right? De-risk a little bit, sell, and then buy back. So there's still an opportunity for people to, maybe de-risk a little bit on the next pump, maybe de-risk a little bit. That's typically why you see that strong retracement after a very large sell-off like this, is people just want to get out. Hey, I'm happy with break even. That's the mindset a lot of people have right now. It's, hey, I'm happy with break even. Let me get out of the crypto market. I'm done with crypto. I just want to get out with the money I entered in. And so that's typically why you see something like this, where you get that, you get this green wave, and then you get that sell-off and you get that lower low. Okay, because there's just less people in the market. More people are just getting out when they can. Okay, this is my chance to get out. And then what do? They get out at they get out down through here, and then they miss out on something like this. Right? And then they miss out on something like this because they bought somewhere, I don't know, up here. They bought up here. Guess what? You still would have made money. So yeah, it's not instant gratification that most people want, like we deal with in life. Most people just want instant gratification, but if you have some patience, or if you see the big picture, and it's not, you're investing with money that you don't need, right? If you're investing with liquidity that you don't need, then having conviction in something that you've done your research in, that you think can actually benefit in the long run. That's the way I look at assets and the way that I look at investments. It's not always a quick flip. Yes, I do have quick flip, investments, but for the most part, for me, crypto, I do think is the it's the next. I think it's like the next debit card. It's the financial revolution. It's the ability for worldwide transaction at cheap cost, and it's trackable for the IRS purposes and other purposes that will more than likely hit us down the line in the future. So almost the most oversold you've been in crypto history. I mean, down through here, December 14th, right? And then you went on this impeccable run. Down through here, we already talked about that. You went on that incredible run. Down through here, you went on an incredible run. Down through here, are we going to go on an incredible run? Maybe back test this, and then come back down one more time. If we do back test this and come back down one more time, that's what I would think that we're in the ABC correction. For total 3, last chart of the day. If you're looking for, someone to cover all of these different assets, comparative charts, things of that nature, I offer that through the Patreon. So that's why I'm kind of skipping through a lot of these. But, total 3, that's what we're looking at right now. Same thing, most oversold you've been. We have the idea that, you are, Ethereum is going to, whoa, why can't I? There we go. I was tripping. Sorry, not Ethereum. Altcoins, right? Altcoin centered. Same concept as, the total chart down right here. This is that 618 retracement. That's your 618 retracement from the 2 low to the 3rd wave high. And it hit perfectly right on that 618 retracement. So until you get above that 853 billion, you can go sideways for a little bit. Get your base, stand your base, something like that. I still think that we're looking at an ABC correction. You got your A, you got your B coming out for your C. So you got your 4th wave move coming up, gonna get your 5th wave move, shock the world. Nothing changes with total 3. It actually looks a lot cleaner because you have that lower high. So you have that lower high. So it's a little bit easier to digest for those who think we hit a 5th wave on, Bitcoin or total market cap, things like that. So we're the most oversold, almost the most oversold we've been in crypto history. And I kind of sound like I'm on repeat. I sound like I'm saying the same things, but all these charts, they're indicating the same things. You're getting price action where you have higher lows, right? You have higher lows. Oh, is this a higher low? This is not a higher low. Higher low, higher low. and you have way lower lows, way lower lows, way lower lows. So you're getting sold off into oblivion. And price action, I mean, yes, it's correcting, it is coming down, but it's not coming down relative to the amount of strength it's lost. It's lost a lot of strength. Price action is still holding firm. Sellers are getting exhausted. They're starting to get worried, like, hey, I don't really want to be in at lows anymore. I'm going to start taking some profits. That's when you start to see that initial green is people don't really want to short lows, at least people who, understand what they're doing, and things of that nature. And so, like I said, it's the idea still remains the same, pardon me. It's a long process. It's a war of attrition. It's a battle of an attrition, as one commenter said a while back ago. These institutions, they want to weed out the weak. They want to get rid of people who aren't really convinced of crypto. They want to buy it all up and sell it at higher prices. Buy low, sell high. So, as always, I thank you for your time. I thank you for stopping by. If you're interested in the Discord, it's free. It'll be linked in the description below. As I've said, the Patreon membership, there's tons of things in there. It's more of an additional deep dive if you want to explore more into crypto. As always, I thank you for stopping by. I thank you for your time. Take it easy. Peace.